Hello, thank you for joining me for Influence Objects. Yeah, we're at the point in the series of custom rigging that we're going to introduce some muscle deformation objects, and we can do that very quickly and easily through Influence Objects and keying attributes. So we're going to take another look at that. It's a little different than set-driven keys for complex hierarchies such as hands. But we're going to start by creating an object that we can use as a push object for a bicep. So I'm in the Curves and Surfaces tab here, shelf. I'm going to go ahead and create a sphere. It'll generate that at the center of the world there, 0, 0, 0 location of the world. What we're going to do here is use that to create an internal bicep muscle that we're going to use to bulge the muscle when the arm is flexed. Now, I get better result if those pull ends are rotated to represent the attachment points of the muscle. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a clean 90-degree rotation on that to start with. I'm going to the attribute editor and I'm going to go ahead and limit the sweep on that, if we can find that. Here we go. Third tab, make NURB sphere. In the sphere history end sweep, I'm going to go with a 180 on that. So I'm just getting half of the muscle. And now I'm going to go ahead and scale that to position. Of course, it's going to be scaled non-uniformly to represent the length of the muscle. I'm also going to position that in the location that I want it and make sure that it's buried beneath the skin, giving a reasonable distance between the mesh and the muscle object itself. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to shape this up. Go inside just a little bit more, a little bit longer here. Positioning between the elbow joint and the shoulder joint. We know those attachment points are a little different than that. However, this is just a general mock-up of the position so we can get some shape change when we're flexing this muscle. Alright, I can go a little bit further out than that. Just making some modifications here. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is everything that we use for an object in rigging, we want to make sure to position scale, rotate in. As soon as we have completed that and we're ready to rig that in, we're going to clear the data of that. So I'm going to go to Edit Dropdown, Delete by Type History, clear the inputs. I'm going to Modify Dropdown, Freeze Transformations, and now you can see that that object is data free, ready to rig in. You're going to get your best result for the animation as well. Alright, now I'm going to introduce this object into the current rig by parenting it to this object first. I have this object selected. I'm going to Shift select that shoulder joint and I'm going to go ahead and parent that to that object. So now I'm going to test that. My arm is being driven by IK, so I'm going to test to make sure that's following along, which it is. Okay. Now what I'm going to be doing is making sure that we are inside the mesh in all directions, which I should have done beforehand. Alright, now what we're going to do is key relationships. So I'm going to go to the animation category of tools. I'm going to key, set, driven key, and set. Now, in order to do this, You'll note that in our previous video we used set-driven key window to establish relationships on a custom attribute. But in this case we're going to use an existing bone, the movement of that, to drive the scale, or an additional attribute in this particular object. All right, same concept, different way to use that. So the muscle is actually the driven object. Because I had it selected when I brought my window up, it is automatically loaded in the driven category. Now, I want to bulge the muscle when the arm is rotated. So what I'm going to do is go to Scale, and you'll notice that that is scale in the Z direction. So that's the attribute that I'm going to actually be driving, scale in the Z. All right, so now what drives that is the rotation of the bone. Now you might say it's the IK position of the handle, the Y. In fact, we're going to root that. We're going to make sure to use the rotation of the bone instead of additional rigging handles. So we're going to select that bone. When that actually rotates around the Y, that's what's going to drive the scale of the Z of the nerve sphere. So we're going to load this as the driver, and the attribute that we're looking to change would be rotate around the Y. Alright, so now that that relationship is established, what we're going to do is set a key. Alright, notice that we're not creating a custom attribute, we're simply setting an automated key. Now, with the flex, we're going to go ahead and flex that, okay, and we're going to scale the muscle object in the Z direction. I'm going to overblow this so that you can easily see that on the video. It's much larger than the arm is now. And I'm going to key that relationship. Alright, so now, oops, that too. Now, when I move that IK, you can see the scale is automated in that flexing of the muscle. Alright, now what we need to do is add the muscle as an influencer for the mesh. Okay. Go ahead and zero that out. Oops, that's not what we want. And pull that down to the correct position. Alright, thought I could zero that out, but I cannot. Alright, let's take note of the position of this, -4762, and I'm going to restore this one, 72, just so that it's as accurate as I could get it. Okay, there we go. Alright, now I'm going to select the muscle object and shift select the mesh of my character. Come on down to the rigging category of tools, and under skin drop down here at the bottom, edit influences, we're going to add the influence. Alright, this model is pretty dense, so it may take a little bit. Usually I save my work before I do this. Sometimes it's been known to crash. But we're going to trust it this time. Alright, I'm still in progress here. Alright, I tend to leave my set driving key window open until everything is complete. Now I'm going to go ahead and test this, and the mesh should bulge with There it goes, the influence object. Alright, so you got your first muscle installed. Now you're going to do the delts and the triceps and your pecs, whatever it is that you want to go ahead and try to install for automated flexing of your muscles. That's the name of the game here for this particular character. Now notice when you add influence, go ahead and share with you, sometimes it will really not do very well with current weight set. So what I tend to do is wait until my influence objects are in before I actually do my final weight painting of my mesh. Alright, and then you won't spend a lot of time for it just to get messed up. Alright, thank you for joining me for influence objects. We're going to take a look at some other options in this series in upcoming videos. So watch for the next video, and thank you for joining me today.